Hello and welcome to Game Week 5 Cartola FC. My name is Sean. Let's get into the week. Okay, we'll start with my team from last week. It was an amazing week for me. 98.5 points. Also gained, I believe, 13 bucks. You can see here the captain Cano did not come off, but Gabby got a penalty. Suarez with his first goal of the season. Uh, Rafael Vega with a late goal right before he came off. That was nice. Duarte with a center back goal. Didn't keep the clean sheet, but he got a nice goal. Piqueras, 2 assists. Almost had three with the own goal there for Goiás. In FPL, that would be a third assist. Perry did not get a lot of saves like I wanted, but he did keep the clean sheet. Just overall a great week for me. Um, Caleb hit the post as well, almost scored on the Monday night game. Really good week for me, and a good week for a lot of people. If you had Cristaldo, that was a nice return. If you had Colley, that was a nice return as well. Cristaldo, we know, is on pens now, which is good for the future. Suarez is off pens, so that makes Cristaldo a better option in the future. Maybe not this week since he has Palmeiras. You can see my points here, 98.5, really good score, almost 100. The median was 58, and I also gained 13 bucks, up to 137 Cartola bucks. That is going to be very nice to use, especially this week, as we'll see Palmeiras and Flamengo with two great matchups. Okay, so matchups this week. The first thing to consider, it's a midweek game week, so the first matches are on Wednesday night. Make sure you change your lineups, and we will know the lineups for three matches, so that'll be nice. Inter, Paranaense, Santos Bahia, Bragantino, and American Mineiro. We will know those lineups before the market closes. And then we match week 6, quick turnaround on Saturday. So market closes tomorrow and market will close on Saturday. So quick back to back there. Let's take a look at some of the predicted fixtures for this week. We can see Flamengo, big favorites. They're in a bad form, in a bad way of late, but huge favorites to Goiás, who just lost 5-0 to Palmeiras. And Flamengo is at home. Palmeiras with another great matchup at home to Grêmio. Grêmio just gave up 3 goals to Bragantino. Some other nice matchups. The Rooster, Atlético Mineiro, away to Cuiabá, but still favorites there. Santos a favorite to Bahia. Bragantino, decent favorite, as well as Inter. And let's see, Fortaleza, where are you? Fortaleza and Sao Paulo should be an interesting matchup. Botafogo, perfect so far. They are favorites to Corinthians. So, decent week. Lots of interesting games this week. It is a quick turnaround. And we have some suspensions to keep an eye out. We have some players returning from injury. Okay, let's take a look at the updated XG table throughout 4 games this season. Fortaleza still on top. We have some interesting fixtures to target. A lot of people are looking at Inter players this week, as well as Flamengo players, Bragantino, Palmeiras as well. Inter, so far this season, they are bottom 6 for expected goals. That's not great. Under 1 per 90 per match. So we do want to keep that in mind. Flamengo, they are in the relegation zone, not having a good start to the season, but they are the second best team on this table, so the stats still look good. Even though they've had injured players, even though they've had a new manager, and still just not in good form, they are still second. So that's above Palmeiras. Palmeiras just put up 5. against a 10-man Goiás. So yeah, interesting there. On the other side, the defensive side of the ball, expected goals conceded. Goiás, they just gave up 5 to Palmeiras, but they are still top 5 stats wise. So it does come with a risk. Flamengo and Goiás, if you wanted to load up on Flamengo players, Goiás still decent defensively, even though last week was a bit of a mess. They had the guy sent off, pretty much gave the goal to Rafael Vega, and then 2 late goals there. 0-5, that's a tough scoreline, but top 5 in this table. Bahia still top of the table if you wanted some cheap assets to free up funds to go for attackers and midfielders. Bahia is a decent shout there. Palmeiras, second, nice defensive assets, especially their center backs who can score. Gomez will be a nice pick. Piqueras had 2 assists. He is a nice pick as well. Corinthians, decently 0.98, decent score there. Flamengo top 6 as well. At the other end, Fluminense still bottom. America, Cuiabá, and Botafogo, even though they're perfect defensive stats, they are not showing that they'd be perfect. However, they did have a nice game against Atlético Mineiro last week. So, attacking tiers. My top 2 attackers in the A tier, Pedro coming back from injury and German Cano for Fluminense. They are pretty expensive. If you do have a lot of cash to spare, I would captain one of these 2 players. Suarez for Botafogo is very expensive as well. Hulk as well. If you wanted to go cheaper, Everton looked good for Flamengo last week. Also, Fortaleza has the best attacking stats so far, and Gallardo is a nice pick and a cheap pick. One of the big questions this week is, do you go for Flamengo, even though they've had a bad start to the season? They've got players with fake IDs. They've got players inviting porn stars to the match. It's a new manager. Players worried about the fans booting balls into the fans. It's a weird start to the season for Flamengo, but they are still one of the most talented attacking teams in the league, and they do have Goiás this week, and it's a home match, so keep that in mind. Okay, for midfielders, we have 2 Flamengo assets, Everton Ribeiro and Arrascaeta coming back. Sapoli did say that he wanted some more, creative players, and those 2 guys might get the start. I do like those picks. Rafael Vega, very expensive, a risk to lose money as well, but he is in really great form for Palmeiras. And then Bruninho, very attacking midfielder for Bragantino, and I like him as a pick. If you don't have the money for Vega, Bruninho is a really nice pick for Bragantino. A lot of people going for Inter. I like Mauricio. He seems to be more attacking if you check out the heat maps compared to Alan Patrick, but those are both 2 good picks there. John Arias for Fluminense, a really good pick. Hercules for Fortaleza. Fortaleza will have some kind of knocked, kind of injured guys, but I believe Hercules should get the start there. And then Colley coming off to assist is a nice cheap asset for Bahia. On to our clean sheet odds for Game Week 5. Flamengo is at the top. Palmeiras is also up there, above 50% chance of getting a clean sheet. Inter coming at 3rd. Fortaleza surprisingly at 4th. And Botafogo at 5th. So these guys, if you wanted to go for an expensive defense, Flamengo and Palmeiras have really nice choices. Otherwise, if you wanted to save, Bragantino looks good. Santos and Fortaleza have some cheap defensive picks. So on to center backs. In the A tier, I do have those two Flamengo players. Pereira, a little too expensive for my liking, but he does offer that attacking return. He did score a brace this season. Fabricio Bruno is up there as well. Gustavo Gomez for Palmeiras is a really nice option. Luan is a nice option as well if you wanted to go a cheaper asset. Titi for Fortaleza, good cheap player, as well as Santos if you wanted to free up funds. Fullbacks, Piqueras, risk to lose money, but he was very, very attacking against Goiás, 2 assists there. Nice pick for Palmeiras this week against Grêmio. And Ayrton Lucas, very attacking for Flamengo. Very expensive. If you want to go cheaper, Wesley is a decent shout there. And Mikey for Palmeiras, kind of the light tiers to those two picks in the A tier. Rubens, nice asset for Mineiro. Alexander, out of position for Fluminense. And Bruno Pacheca if you wanted a Fortaleza lateral. Okay, for goalkeepers, Lusau, very cheap pick. Has negative average, but he's basically free, 82 cents. If you did go for Lusau, definitely do the goalkeeper hack, meaning start a backup keeper that is priced $1, put Lusau on the bench just in case he gets negative again. He won't come on and cost you points and money. Rafael for Sao Paulo should face a lot of shots against Fortaleza. Decent pick there if you wanted to go for save points. Felipe for Bahia. Bahia statistically is a nice defense, and that's a pretty cheap option. Flamengo's goalkeeper has an injury. Weverton for Palmeiras is a nice option if you wanted to put more funds into goalkeeper. But for me this week, it's all about the attack, all about loading up on Palmeiras and Flamengo players. So I'll probably end up on Lusau for 82 cents. And for managers, Sampaoli for Flamingos is pretty decently priced at 946 compared to the other managers. And Flamengo should have a field day against Goiás if the bookies are correct. Caixinha for Red Bull, also a decent shout. Okay, so let's take a look at my team as it stands right now. The big question is, do you go for Flamengo assets or not? In this case, you can see the red and black wave there. Lots of expensive Flamengo assets. I do have the money to get those guys. I know a lot of people will not. So we did go over some cheaper assets, but we're going for Arrascaeta, Everton Ribeiro, Pedro captain, Ayrton Lucas, Fabricio Bruno, and then the Técnico as well for Flamengo. So putting in all the chips into Flamengo, this is a high upside play. I like it. Still have triple Palmeiras, and then still have German Cano, last year's top goal scorer for Fluminense, and a nice attack there. And then I have Thiago Gallardo for Fortaleza. He's put up nice stats, and Fortaleza still have the best attacking stats so far this year. And then, of course, at goalkeeper, I did do the hack with Lusau as my bench goalkeeper. So, decent team. It's a very expensive team. Does have a risk of losing money, but, Palmeiras, great matchup at home against Grêmio. Flamengo, great matchup. We do want to target those and go for the high upside picks. So, that's my team. Good luck this week, and I'll see you next time.